All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our first day of live family orientation. Our topic today is the Financial Aid and Bursar's Office. So scholarships, paying your bill, the important things that you need to take care of as your student navigates their journey here at TU. So we have a few guests with us today. The Office of New Student and Family Programs will be coordinating a series of these live family orientations so that you can get all the information that you need. So I'll go ahead and start the introductions. My name is Catherine Knaus. I'm the Assistant Director of New Student and Family Programs, and I specifically work with families here at TU. So I'll be here for you while your student navigates their whole time at Towson University. Whether you choose to join our family network, you start receiving our family communications. We want to make sure that you are a part of the Towson family as well. So I'll throw it over to Kristen to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kristen Hanley. I'm the Student Director of Family Engagement. I will be with you all year. I am going into my senior year at Towson, and my major is Family and Human Services with a minor in Deaf Studies.
Thanks. And Kristen will be helping moderate our conversation today. We have some questions that were submitted in advance that we'll be asking our guests here. And then after we get through those questions, we'll open the chat for you to be able to submit questions here. And Kristen and I will be moderating those. So with that, I will turn it over to Tom to introduce himself from the Bursar's office.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tom Ruby. I am the director of the Bursar's office. I'm better known here as the chief bill collector of the university, and I'll be happy to answer some of your questions regarding the billing and the collection aspects of the Bursar's office.
All right, thank you, Tom. And then Sarah with Financial Aid.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sarah Selby with the Financial Aid Office. I'm a financial aid advisor, so I'll be happy to try and answer any aid questions that you have this evening.
All right, thank you. So we will get started with my most frequently asked question. When will I receive a bill and when is it due for Tom?
Sure. Now, based upon your student's registration, a bill will be generated. Now, here at Towson University, we utilize an electronic bill system, an e-bill. We do not mail any paper bills home. We are trying to be a green campus and eliminate the use of paper. So your student, once they register for their classes for the fall 2020 semester, a bill will be generated within that week. And your student will be notified by an email to their email address, the TU email address, that a bill is waiting for them. Now, we utilize a business partner called TouchNet. They handle two things for us. Number one, our e-bill system, as well as our payment portal. And that email will direct your student to the e-bill center to pick up their e-bill. And the bill for the incoming freshmen and transfer students for the fall 2020 semester will be due on Monday, August 31st.
Thank you. Another commonly asked question, how can I determine what fees and charges are being placed on my bill? Where can I find an estimate of what I'd be paying?
Sure. Now, the e-bill that your student will be receiving will be fully itemized. Tuition will be identified, all the university mandatory fees, which will be an auxiliary fee, an athletic fee, a technology fee, and a SGA fee. They are all the university's mandatory fees. Now, any other ancillary charges will also be itemized. For instance, if there is a parking permit, that fee will be itemized and identified on the bill. Some of the classes utilize electronic version of the teaching materials, and that is a charge that is posted through the university store onto the student's account, and that will also be itemized. So it will be very easy to follow as it relates to all the itemized charges on the account for the semester. Now, here at Towson University, we do bill for each semester. So the bill that you will be receiving will only be for the upcoming 2020 fall semester. Now, as it relates to estimated costs, on the Bursar's website, you can glean some information as it relates to the cost of education. And on our website, it reflects both full-time as well as part-time tuition and mandatory fees. So that will give you a pretty good idea as it relates to what the cost would be for this upcoming fall semester.
All right, and I'll give you one more, Tom. If families are interested in signing up for an installment plan, can they do that, and how can they do that?
Yes, they can. Well, here at Towson University, we have an installment plan called the Tiger Installment Plan, or we also like to call it the TIP. Now, you can actually schedule as many as 4 monthly payments for the semester bill. And it's very easy. It is self-enrollment. If you come to the Bursar's website, you will find a link for the Tiger Installment Plan. Everything is right there to explain how it works. Enrollment dates when each payment will be due. And there is a small enrollment fee for signing up for the deferred payment program. And you identify how you would be making the payment either with a e-check or with a credit card payment for each one of the monthly payments. But it's very easy to sign up. As I said, it's self-enrollment. However, if you do have any questions, we will be happy to help you. Now, right now, my office is operating with teleworking. They are not in the office at this time. So if you would send an email to Bursar, B-U-R-S-A-R, @towson.edu, one of my Bursar associates will be happy to contact you by email as it relates to your question. Now, if you do require a telephone call, please include your telephone number in your email and we'll give you a call back. But again, really, you just need to go to the Bursar's website, look for the link for the Tiger Installment Plan, and it's very easy to sign up.
Thank you. Up next, I have a few questions for Sarah in financial aid. What types of loans are available to students and their families?
Well, we certainly have federal student loans. So the federal student loans would be the federal direct subsidized loan and federal direct unsubsidized loan. The subsidized loan is a need-based loan, so not everyone qualifies for that. Some get one or the other or a combination of both offered to them when they complete the FAFSA. So if anyone wants a loan, they definitely need to do the FAFSA application. You can learn more about the loans on towson.edu/loans. We have a description of all our loan programs, in fact. But in addition to the federal student loans, there are also federal parent loans. These are loans that parents can apply to borrow from the U.S. Department of Education on behalf of their dependent undergraduate students. So, and if there are any graduate students, then they also have graduate plus loans where a graduate student can borrow for themselves. But that's the basic of the loans. For an incoming freshman, generally who's a dependent student on the FAFSA, about $5,500 is the maximum they can borrow for that first year of study. Students who are independent or who have parents that aren't able to get a plus loan can borrow a little more. So, but like I said, the best way to look at those, all the information about the loans is towson.edu/loans.
Great. And I know that a lot of families' situations have changed since maybe they filled out the FAFSA. If a family needed to either update their information or their circumstances have changed and they need to either take out more loans or they won't be needing as many loans, how can a family go about that?
Well, if they want to take out more loans, it's generally if the student perhaps declined their federal student loans that we initially offered, they can request them back. We have what's called a loan change form. They can fill that out to request their loans back. So in the Student Center, under the Finances tab, you see that Accept Decline Aid link there. But beneath that Accept Decline Aid link, there's a financial aid forms link. So that financial aid forms link in the Student Center, students can click on that and complete that loan change form to request their loans back. For parents, if they want more loans, they can just simply go on to studentaid.gov and apply for the parent loan on behalf of their dependent undergraduate student, and they can get the loans that they need. Another alternative, and this is also discussed at the towson.edu/loans link. Another alternative is what we call private alternative loans. These are loans from private banks that students and parents can apply to instead of the federal loan programs. We recommend federal aid first. However, some people, have a preference for doing otherwise. So certainly private alternative loans are something that they can look into if they want to.
Excellent, thank you. And so, Tom, with a lot of these changes, many folks are having their students live on campus when they originally thought they would live on campus. And so they're going to be getting a refund for some of that financial aid because they're not paying those on-campus room and board charges. How can a family get ready to get those refunds?
Sure. Now, all of our refunds are handled through another one of our business partners, and that is called Bank Mobile. Now, what the student needs to do is sign up as it relates to the method of how they would like to receive their refund or their financial aid rebate. That would be funds that are surplus after the cost of education has been satisfied with a financial aid package. Now, the student would need to come to the Bursar's website, and we have the Disbursement Online Center. We also call that the DOC. And that's where the student would identify how they would like to receive their refund or their financial aid rebate. There are a couple options that the student can select. The first option, and which I highly recommend to take advantage of, is an electronic fund transfer to a checking account or savings account. That's the most expeditious way to get the refund or the financial aid rebate. And when it has been deposited into the account, Bank Mobile will email the student that the money is in the bank. Now, the second option would be a paper check, and that paper check would be mailed to an address that the student has identified. There is a delay with a paper check, of course, because it is mailed through the United States Postal Service. And then finally, if no selection is made, it would be the default. And the default is a paper check that would be mailed to the student's address that is on file in the student information system. Now, a little tip for parents. Some of these refunds, some of these financial aid rebates are some significant amounts of money. I would highly recommend that you may want to consider opening up a joint checking account or savings account with your student. That way you are able to help them to manage those funds. Now, here on campus, we have a couple banking institutions. PNC Bank has a branch office in our student union. We also have a working relationship with the State Employee Credit Union. They have a small branch in our West Village Commons building. And there are multiple banks throughout the Towson area that you could take advantage of to open up a joint checking account or savings account. Now, moms, dads, one other point that I want to make. Even though you may be paying out of pocket for some or all of the cost of education of your student, and there is a refund involved, we are obligated to make the refund back to the student. It is the student's account, and that's how we make the refunds, is back to the student's account.
Thanks, Tom. Another few questions for you. if families are having a payment made from a scholarship or from a Maryland 529 plan, how do they confirm that they have hit an account and make sure they get to their student?
Sure. Now, one thing that I also encourage students to do, and let me just tell you a quick little story. When my daughter was a freshman student here at Towson, she got the email, she got her e-bill. Did she give it to me? Absolutely not. And about 3 days before the bill was due, one of my Bursar associates said, Tom, your daughter's bill hasn't been paid. I'm the director of the Bursar's office. I was quite embarrassed. But I did pay the bill in time, I said, this will never happen to me again. So what we've done is we've developed a program whereby the student can authorize users of their financial account and their e-bill. And I highly recommend that you would want your student to do that for you so that you will get the email along with your student about the e-bill being available, as well as having full access to review their financial account. Instructions how to do that are right on the Bursar's website. So I suggest that you go to the Bursar's website, look at those instructions, and have your student go ahead and set the parent or any other authorized user up as an authorized user of their financial account. That'll be a very easy way for you to see all the transactions real time on the account. So if it is a scholarship, a private scholarship that comes into the Bursar's office, we certainly process that through the Office of Financial Aid, and it is posted onto the account. If it's a 529 Maryland Prepaid College Trust payment, what we advise you to do is, well, this is the process. Once you receive the e-bill, you want to make a copy of it. You want to marry that up with the authorization form from Maryland Prepaid College Trust and send that in to the Maryland Prepaid Trust office. Now, you want to select to have the payment made to Towson University. Please don't have the payment made to you, because then you're going to have to renegotiate that check and then send it to the university, and that's just going to delay everything. Have the check made payable to the university. Here's how it works with Maryland Prepaid. We don't get individual checks. We get one big check with a list of all the students and the dollar amount that they are paying. And that's how we post those payments onto the student's account. Now, those payments will be identified and itemized as either a scholarship or a Maryland Prepaid College Trust. And all of our payments are itemized. So if it's a check payment, it will be identified as a check payment. If it's a federal loan, it will be identified as a federal loan. If it is a cash payment, it will be identified as a cash payment. So it'll be very easy to follow, but really have your students set you up as an authorized user of their financial account. And again, those instructions are on the Bursar's website.
Excellent, thank you. And then either Sarah or Tom, can we also talk about the FERPA waiver that they can fill out for being able to ask questions about their account?
Sarah, would you like me to address that?
Sure.
Okay. FERPA is a federal privacy act, and it limits the ability for both the financial aid office and the Bursar's office to disclose any information to anyone other than the student. Now, this is a federal regulation, and we are required to follow that regulation. So in the event that you, the parent, call the Bursar's office or the Office of Financial Aid to inquire about information about your student's financial account or their financial aid account, if we do not have authorization from your student, we cannot discuss anything. Now, your student can set that up for you by filling out the release of information form. That is on the Towson Online Services website, and we strongly suggest that you do that. We are able to identify or authenticate who we're speaking with on the telephone or in person once the authorization or release of information has been completed by the student. But only the student can do that. You, the parent, cannot do it for yourself. So FERPA, as I said, is a federal regulation. We have to comply. And the easiest way for us to be able to talk to you, the parent, or any other individual, is to have your student complete the release of information form.
Thank you. And as your students navigate these different processes online, they've signed up for an orientation date. They'll meet with an orientation leader. Orientation leaders who have been through this, I know Kristen could probably speak to this, are great folks to walk your student through click by click if they have questions about how to get any of these things done. Tom has also made us a fantastic video that's on our YouTube that you can watch that covers a lot of these topics as well. But that is all of our pre-submitted questions. So what I'm going to do at this time is I'm going to open the chat function. And so if you navigate to the chat function on your Zoom window, you'll be able to enter questions for Tom and Sarah. And then Kristen is going to help condense these questions and make sure that we get to as many of them as possible. All right.
So Tom, can you define FERPA? What I think we understand what it means, but what does it stand for?
Oh, that's a good question, and I don't have that off the top of my head. Sarah, can you answer that one?
Yes, Federal Education Rights to Privacy Act.
Thank you. All right, and Sarah, I think this is a question for you. Can you apply for federal loans directly from Towson University?
You apply for them through Towson University by completing the FAFSA, the federal form. So if you've completed the FAFSA, Towson can offer you those loans directly. You don't have to go somewhere else looking for those loans.
Thank you. And so Tom or Sarah, I'm not sure who this question would be directed to, but how does the post 9/11 GI Bill work?
Okay, sure. Now, here at Towson, we have a military VA office. We strongly suggest anyone who would be utilizing the GI Bill or any Veterans Affairs benefits to contact the Military Veterans Office initially. We have a great working relationship with them. They can certainly help you through that process. That's where it would all start, is with the Military VA office. Any awards would be posted onto the student's account. And of course, that would be identified as an itemized payment option and would be itemized on the account. But most important to start with the Military Veterans Affairs Office.
Thank you. There is a question about a scholarship for school from Towson University, and I can speak to that just knowing that there's a website on Towson's, there's a branch of Towson University's website that has scholarships just specifically from Towson. Sarah, did you want to speak more to that?
Sure. We certainly list our TU scholarships as well as external links for other scholarships on our website through the financial aid office. So just go to towson.edu/scholarships and you can see what's there.
Thank you. Someone is wondering, they have a family member that works for the University of Baltimore, how tuition remission works. Can he use his TU scholarships for the cost of attendance?
Well, let me just talk about the tuition remission. That all begins with the HR department of the employee's university or college. And then that tuition remission application is forwarded on to our Towson University HR department for approval. That is then communicated onto the Bursar's office, and it is posted as a financial aid award. It is part of the financial aid package. But it would cover only tuition. The key word here is tuition remission. It doesn't cover any fees, room and board. It is only applied to the tuition portion of the account. And it may be a percentage. It may not always be 100% because of various aspects of the University of Maryland system employees employment qualifications.
Absolutely. Thank you. Another person has another question about veterans benefits. How will we know when they have been approved?
Well, the Military and Veterans Office would be directly communicating with the student, and then once you are an authorized user of your student's account, you would see that posting of the award onto the account as a payment.
I have one that will cover, I think, maybe a few of these. Tom, could you go over the different ways that you can pay tuition at TU?
Oh yeah, sure. Well, here at Towson University, we do accept cash. I like cash, but please don't send any cash through the mail. If you would come to the Bursar's office, our payment center is open, and we will take your cash and we will give you a receipt for it. Another method is a paper check or a money order made payable to Towson University. And in the memo section of the check or the money order, if you would identify the student's name and their TU ID number, that will help us to make sure that we're posting that check payment or money order payment to the correct account. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we have a business partner, TouchNet, and they provide our payment portal to our students and to our parents. Now, you can make a payment utilizing an ACH or an e-check payment for the semester bill. You would be providing through the payment portal, which is secure, either your checking or savings account number and the dollar amount that you want to pay. And that would be an automatic process directly onto the student's account. Now, there is no fee, I repeat, there is no fee associated with an ACH e-check payment through the TouchNet payment portal. Another method that we do have available is wire transfers. Maybe you are dealing with a banking institution, a credit union, and they want to make the payment in your behalf as a wire transfer. We do accept wire transfers. However, there's some information that you need to provide that banking institution or credit card so that the wire transfer is successful onto your student's account. That information is right on the Bursar's website that you can glean and provide to the banking institution or the credit union so it is a successful wire transfer. We do accept third-party payments. Let me give you some examples of third-party payments. Maybe your employer pays some or maybe all of the cost of education for your student. That would be a third-party payment. Maybe, as we've already talked about, VA or GI benefits. That's a third-party payment. We do accept those, of course. And then there is the 529 Maryland Prepaid College Trust or another state's 529 College Trust. And we accept all those third-party payments. However, what we'd like you to do is contact the Bursar's office. Let us know that there is a third-party payment that is going to be utilized so that we can, number one, make that notation onto your student's account that we know that the payment is coming through a third party. And in some cases, we may have to help you as it relates to processing some paperwork for that third-party payment. So that we do accept all forms of third-party payment. Now, the last payment is credit cards. Here at Towson University, the Bursar's office, we do not accept credit card payments for semester bills. We just do not take it. However, our business partner, TouchNet, through the payment portal, they do. They accept MasterCard, Visa, Discover, and American Express. However, they do assess a 2.85% convenience fee on the amount that you would be charging. So, that is a fee that is paid to TouchNet for the services provided for a credit card payment. The bursar's office does not have anything to do with those 2.5 convenient fees, just to let you know. I think that pretty well covers our methods of payments.
That's great. Thank you. I am seeing a repeated question. And Tom, the answer to when will we get the e-bill, that is Monday, August 31st, correct?
No, that is when the bill will be due, is August 31st. Once your student registered for their classes, within that week, e-bill will be generated, and that's when they will get the email directing them to the TouchNet e-bill center to pick up their bill. But the bill for the fall semester for freshmen and new transfer students for the fall 2020 year or semester will be Monday, August 31st.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification.
And I'm seeing a few questions about when your students will register for classes. So that is tied to your students' orientation date. When they attend orientation, that is when they will be considered having registered for classes. And so then a few days after that, Tom's folks will start generating bills for them. And if you're here, your student is registered for an orientation date. I can guarantee you that because that is how you got this information.
So there's another question. Will the bill reflect the new deductions that were issued?
The University System of Maryland has approved that tuition and fees for this upcoming fall and spring semester will be the same tuition and fees that were charged for the last academic year. So there is not going to be any adjustments to the charges that are being posted to the student's account for this upcoming fall semester that I am aware of. The usual and customary tuition and fees, mandatory fees, will be assessed.
Thank you. In a similar light, someone's student has secured housing through capstone management. So are the room and board fees factored in? Are they unique to the financial aid package? How does that look?
Well, let me just talk about the billing aspect of capstone properties here on our campus. What will only be reflected on the student's bill will be the university's housing inventory only. Capstone properties are on our campus. However, they are billed by Capstone directly. They are not reflected onto the student's semester bill. So, just to make that clarification, if your student is in a Capstone property on campus, you will be billed separately by Capstone. It will not appear on the semester bill. Only university housing inventory will be posted.
I'm seeing another repeated question about health insurance. And so I'll go ahead and take some of these from what I know from our friends in the health center. So health insurance is not mandatory through the university. And as in, it is not automatic. So when your student enrolls in Towson University, it is not an opt-out for health insurance, it's an opt-in. The university does have a plan that you could opt in to cover your student for health insurance, but it won't be automatically applied to your account. So there's no action that you need to take if you are covering your student through your health insurance or if they have health insurance on their own. They can and will, if they use the health center, have a bill that goes through their bursar's office, but it will not delineate what they were seeking treatment for at the health center. It will be marked as a general charge.
Also, another question. What can you explain the difference between a subsidized and unsubsidized loan, and how should people go about repaying them?
Okay, well, a subsidized loan is a loan that requires financial needs. So when you complete the FAFSA, each FAFSA application gets an EFC number, and that EFC number is a number that we use in conjunction with the student's cost of attendance to determine how much need they have. So not everyone qualifies, but when a loan is subsidized, basically there's no interest accruing on that loan until after a 6 months grace period, once the student either graduates or stops attending school at least half time. So, while you're in school for earning your degree, it's basically an interest-free loan. Um, but when you go into repayment after that 6 months grace period, that's when interest will accrue on that loan. With an unsubsidized loan, however, interest accrues from the time the loan is dispersed until it's repaid in full. And how do you go about repaying? Well, 6 months after you graduate or stop attending school at least half time, the loan servicer will send information about repaying. Also, you'll be contacted by the university about doing loan exit counseling so that you understand about repaying the loan.
Thank you for that clarification.
Sure.
I'm seeing some confusion about registering for classes. Totally understandable. So many of your students may have logged on to their PeopleSoft account and saw that there were classes in their schedule. That does not necessarily mean they're considered registered for classes. Our academic advisors spend the summer building in course schedules to your student's account, but it's not until they attend orientation that they're considered registered for those classes. So even if they can see them online on their account, they're not technically registered yet.
I would like to add to that because I'm also seeing similar questions to that. Some like freshman students, incoming first year students will have their schedule picked out for them. Their advisors will already have crafted a schedule for them. After their first semester, students will create their own schedule. As for transfer students, they don't have their schedule yet, and they will pick their classes during their orientation date. They will not have their classes until their orientation, when they work with advisors and orientation leaders to craft the schedule that they want, that best fits their major.
I'm seeing a question. Do MHEC scholarships count as a third-party scholarship? I'm not sure what that scholarship is. I don't know if maybe Tom or Shelby do. MHEC.
That's the Maryland Higher Education Commission. They offer grants and scholarships to students. So when MHEC scholarships come through, the financial aid office posts them. They get posted to the Bursar's account against the bill. And so it's not your typical third-party scholarship. So generally, most of that is posted if the student's done everything that they need to do to get the scholarship dispersed. That's usually posted before the bill comes out.
Great. And another unique one I haven't seen. Do TU students pay Baltimore County tax? I don't know.
There is no tax that is assessed as it relates to the cost of education for tuition and fees. Now, if there are purchases made in the university store for books and supplies, yes, there would be Maryland state tax that would be assessed, but there is no tax assessed for the cost of education for tuition and fees.
Thank you. Are athletic scholarships applied differently than other scholarships to a bill?
No, they pretty much get posted the same way. It shows as an itemized credit to the bill.
Great. When can families expect disbursement of those federal loans, subsidized, unsubsidized, Parent Plus?
If they've completed all of the tasks that they need to have their aid dispersed, then about August the 14th is when that should be posted to the account. Sometimes they have items that they need to complete before that we can disperse the aid. One of those items is the verification and other things that are required to disperse a loan, like for the student subsidized and unsubsidized loans, there's the federal entrance counseling and the federal master promissory note for the Parent Plus loan. There's the Parent Plus master promissory note. And sometimes if the Plus loan wasn't immediately approved when the parent applied, sometimes the parent is required to have Plus loan counseling. So there are a few tasks that have to be done. Everything would be listed on the student's to-do list if we were looking for something that needed to be done from the student to have their aid dispersed generally. So we do encourage students to check their Towson Online Services to-do list regularly, and as well as to check their Towson University email for any important messages from us about what a student may be needing.
Excellent, thank you. Well, we are coming up to the end of our session. I know that we weren't able to answer all of these questions. I'm hoping that, Tom, can you repeat how to best get in touch with the Bursar's office so that if they have questions about their individual accounts, they can let you know?
Sure. As I mentioned earlier, most of my staff are teleworking. And the only way that we have any communication with parents and students is by email. Our email address is bursar, B-U-R-S-A-R, @towson.edu. And if you send an email, my administrative assistant is the point person for all emails coming into our Bursar email box office. And she will go ahead and disperse those out to one of my Bursar associates to reply to you. Now, if you need a telephone call, please include your telephone number in your email and we'll give you a call back. But the only way that we can communicate with you at this time because of teleworking is by email. And as I said, if you use the Bursar email address, Bursar, B-U-R-S-A-R, @towson.edu, you will get a reply from one of my Bursar associates.
Thank you. And Sarah, how about getting in touch with financial aid? How can they best do that?
Well, I think the best thing to do is to go to our website. And at our website, you'll see several options for contacting us. So our website is towson.edu/finaid. That's FINAID. If you go there, you'll see that we do have a chat service available. You'll see the hours for that. Also, we have a questions form. Our email address is there. A lot of the information is right there on our website, so your question could probably be answered by just viewing the information on the site. But at any rate, if you need to get in contact with us, certainly you can chat or email or submit the aid questions form. We are not really offering phone service because we're teleworking as well. So that's going to be something that will change soon. But if there's an urgent need for phone contact, then that can be arranged.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And I'm seeing a request in the chat. Can you make an FAQ of the unanswered questions? I really hope that you'll get in touch with the Bursar's office and the financial aid office if you have questions that pertain to your individual situation. But also, I do know that I skipped several questions that will best be answered by academic advising. Many questions were about the scheduling, and we're going to have a live session with them coming up next. So that's a great segue into my wrap up. We do have a whole series of these webinars. We hope that you'll join us again. The one coming up next week is with academic advising and support services. We'll also have ones with health and counseling, with campus safety, and we'll have a Q&A with our orientation leaders so that you can really get a sense of a day in the life of a student. So I hope you'll join us. They'll all be at this 5 o'clock time as well as a noon session. The schedule can be found on the family orientation website, which is towson.edu/families. So towson.edu/families, plural. And that way you can have them on your calendar to join us on later dates. But I do also want to plug our Towson Family Network. So you have the ability to join our family organization for as long as your student is enrolled as an undergraduate at Towson University. So if you're on that towson.edu/families page, you'll also find links to the Towson Family Network, as well as our Towson for Families, our TU for Families e-newsletter. That's a great way to keep on top of all of the things that are going on here at TU. The great thing about that is it won't clog your inbox. You get to tell it how often you want to get that newsletter, and it also serves as a portal. You can sign in anytime if in between getting the newsletters you want to see if something new has been posted there. We really appreciate you joining us. We hope that you continue to join us over the summer. And as you have questions, please let us know. We're here to help you. Go Tigers. Have a great evening.
Good night.